to another episode of FitzRupee Cast featuring Dawn of War 2 Retribution. Red-Rupee here with you as always, calling the shots tonight. And we have, of course, my DLC giveaway and Dawn of War 2 giveaway coming up. I did close submissions for that. I'll be announcing the winners next episode later this week, so don't worry. That is coming. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at our game. We are on Hydris Chasm, as you can see here, which means we've got a very interesting 2-on-2 game here tonight. And let's go ahead and take a look at our players. On the red team, we have Mr. G.U.G Kingdom over here, and as you can see, all of our players tonight are on the G.U.G clan, which used to be G.H.G, Global Hardcore Gamers. I'm not sure what it stands for now, but Tech Marine for Kingdom over here, then his ally, Mr. Swat, as the Warp Spider Exarch for Eldar. On the opposing team, we have Mr. Gote as the vibrant white and bright green Chaos Sorcerer over here, and then rounding out the blue team, another Tech Marine, Mr. Soom, who's a very well-known player I haven't seen play in a long time, notably known for his Tyrannid play, but today sticking with some Ultramarines. So let's go ahead and get this rolling. Hydris Chasm, of course, a very constricted map. As you can see, we'll just take a look here. There's 4 distinctive lanes. We've got kind of a resource lane over here with power and requisition, kind of a secondary lane. Then we have the contested VP over here with natural power for both sides. And up here we have sort of a supporting bridge, which is really only used for flanking or supporting the central contested VP over here, or getting to the opposing player's power farm. And then on the far left of the map, we have the 2 natural VPs with some rec and a power node between them. So generally very singular play. These Tech Marines probably going to be very useful this map. Oh, and we can see the Warp Spider already harassing that Tech Marine, getting him off the power. Tech Marine's probably going to be using some turrets, I would imagine. These lanes are very narrow and very hard to get around and get some good flanks in on. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Warp Spider also going to be very useful, I feel, with some good Warp Gate usage. Maybe a couple well-placed mass teleports can really catch an opposing player off guard without support, as the allies are so very far away in this map. 2 quick little decaps there from the Warp Spider, doing a great job of stopping that power cap right there and buying some time. Soom, in the meantime, going very interesting here. 4 squads of scouts to start him off. I'm not sure if we're going to see him upgrade those all to snipers later on, or what exactly his plan is. Warp Spider's trying to get a cap over here. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get it before those scouts take him out. 2 squads of scouts firing on him. He gets the cap, but he goes down. Oh, a big loss there. Doesn't need to lose that commander that early. And we can see a double Heretic build coming in against this Tech Marine. Mr. Kingdom over here getting forced back by 2 squads of Heretics. 2 squads of Heretics, I feel, always a more useful build against Space Marine than 2 squads of CSM. I see the CSM so often, but in my personal experience, double Heretic is just so much more brutal and frustrating, especially in the hands of the Sorcerer. So, oh no, Banshee's going down over here. It looks like very low. Doesn't look like they're going to get away, and oh wow, that's 2 big losses there for SWAT early on here, possibly underestimating how much fire 4 squads of scouts put out. 2 squads, of course, do equivalent damage to a squad attack, so that's essentially like 2 squads of tactical marines pouring fire into your Banshees. So man, we'll have to see if SWAT decides to purchase those back or not. He's currently getting himself a squad of Rangers, which will help him start picking off scouts over here. Kingdom, in the meantime, has some scouts hanging by with a sergeant. These Chaos Space Marines going to be in trouble. A nice play by him. If these scouts get a good grenade, they're going to at least take out 1 or 2 models. There goes the retreat grenade. Looks like it's a bit premature and goes off a bit early. Unfortunately, not taking anything out. 3-0 cap there for the blue team, though. Starting to tick those VPs off nice and quickly against the red team. And Soom's Tech Marine and all his many, many scouts now gonna be tearing through this power node. But 1 drops at the first shot of a Ranger squad. Those snipers gonna be causing some serious bleed if Soom doesn't keep them protected. Sending the Tech Marine way up front, he can really whittle away at those Rangers and keep them from doing too much damage. And here comes, yep, just as I was expecting, a turret going down over here. And in a pretty good spot, even threatening the blue team's power farm over here. Red team a bit behind on power, it looks like. You can see blue team has power up in 3 locations. Red losing 1 of its locations right here. 1 power farm going down for red. They only have 1 full farm, while the blue team is sitting on almost 3. And both of these squads getting upgraded to grenade launchers, and possibly, I'm not sure if Kingdom intended to do this or not, but to counter that Assault Space Marines coming onto the field, I really feel like at least one of these squads should have stayed melee, because that would certainly help with the possible Assault Marine threat right now. But we'll have to see if the grenade launchers pay off or not. And also a Havoc coming onto the field as well, so possibly expecting to use the grenade launchers to help the Havoc, but if you're purchasing a Havoc, I feel like you definitely want a melee squad there to protect, especially if you're fighting Space Marines. So we'll have to see how that plays out. 2 squads of Rangers now on the field for SWAT. Gonna be picking off scouts left and right, trying to eliminate that squad with just 2 members, but the second squad of Rangers didn't quite set up in time. They sensed the threat and fell back. Soom now pulling those Rangers and Guardians. Those are scouts back. And the Tech Marine coming over here to help out his buddy, but didn't quite, I'm not sure why he retreated there. Maybe a misclick or something like that, but could have gotten that Warp Spider up. Now we have Assault Space Marines jumping in on the grenade launcher Heretics. He didn't see that Havoc yet, perhaps, and probably should have jumped on that. These attacks should really be just getting some flamers and harassing this power if those Assault Marines had gotten on that Havoc. But instead, everything's kind of pushing up past the relative security of that turret. Really, he should be pushing out so far. He should be sticking to this side and forcing Gote to come in into this turret's arc of fire and threatening this power farm over here. So this might cost him his turret, unfortunately. And it looks like Gote may have found, yeah, he found this little nut right here that's outside of the turret's firing arc, and he's going to just be able to bombard that for a while in the meantime. Soom, however, looks like he's spent absolutely 0 power in Tier 1, getting a Scout Sarge right now, and a Razorback. Oh man, and you know what? Exactly what he's going to do is he's going to use that Razorback to just charge right after these Rangers and force them out of the game. Honestly, without anything in the base to protect and dissuade that Razorback from just pushing in full force, it will be able to hunt down these Rangers, and there's just not going to be anything that SWAT's going to be able to do about it. So he's going to have to be very careful with those Rangers. Trying to finish off that Tech Marine over here. Scouts look like they got down here to this turret to repair it in time. Unfortunately, those grenade launchers just don't do much of anything to that turret, that light building right there. Or, sorry, defensive building armor type there. And once again, those Assault Marines choosing not to go after the Havoc is curious. I know he had seen it at that point, but that was a bit of a mistake. Assault Marines falling back, and we can see Chaos Space Marines getting upgraded to the Mark of Horn right now. And Sigil of the... Oh, okay, so what we're going to probably see here is these Horn Marines jump behind this turret, and really, he shouldn't even be bothering with this turret. Gote should just be going around this side of the map and destroying this power farm and forcing the Tech Marine, forcing Kingdom to react to that. So there goes the Sigil. Horn Marine's gonna hop right in there, I'm assuming. And a nice grenade, doing some serious damage to those Horn Marines. They fall back. Oh no, and the Razorback doing exactly what I expected, just hanging out right in the base here, putting some serious pressure on SWAT. That squad of Rangers goes down. Another squad under a lot of fire right now. Really nothing that they can do. You can see the Tactical Marines have their rocket launcher queued up, but Kingdom is nowhere near Tier 2. He's threatening it though, and that might actually just be enough to force it off, but he does tag the second Ranger squad. Big loss over there. Looks like the Corn Marines or something, possibly the grenade launchers, did manage to finish off that Tech Marine turret. Scouts might be going down over here. Oh wow, just barely escaped with 2 HP. Gote now pulling a Chaos Dreadnought on the field while Soom goes into Tier 3. Going into Tier 3 at 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Pretty ridiculous. 2 squads of scouts hanging out in that Razorback. They did have the Scout Sarge, which allowed them to finish off those Rangers. Bright Lance on the field, going to be able to dissuade that Razorback from pushing up too far. It drops a Smoke Bomb, which does inherently save its life. Unfortunately, the Warp Spider looks like he's upgrading to his Power Claws. That Razorback's very low right now. It's trying to escape. Warp Spider teleports behind, trying to get a couple rear armor hits right there. 1 or 2 more swings of those Power Blades, and it's in trouble. He's got enough for one last jump. Will he jump into the base and try to finish it off? He does, gets the rear armor hit, and it's down. After losing so many squads in Tier 1, SWAT really needed that to kind of even things out and give himself a fighting chance. And taking out that Razorback might just work out for him for the time being. In the meantime, Kingdom hiding out in this garrison over here, but with 2 squads of grenade launcher heretics and some some Corn Marines in his retreat path. He realizes he just needs to bail out of there and get out while he has a chance. So we can see instantly upgrading that Chaos Dreadnought to the Mark of Corn, as you would expect from any Chaos Sorcerer player. We've been seeing that so much recently, and it's proven very effective in Soom buying a Land Raider right now. A Land Raider at 9 minutes, that is extremely uncommon. Soom spending minimal power with maximum income and bringing a Land Raider, a super unit, onto the field extremely early in the game here. Forces off that Bright Lance with a Scout Grenade, and wow, the red team's probably going to be in quite a bit of trouble right here. We can see the Reds trying to get as much AV on the field as they can with that Dreadnought out and this Land Raider coming. They bought a little bit of time by taking out that Razorback, but I don't think that's going to be enough. Getting a decap on this kind of tertiary power farm over here from the red team, or sorry, for the red team from the blue team. Assault Space Marine taking lots of grenade fire, jumping in on that Havoc. But in the meantime, the Chaos Dreadnought blood raging after some tactical Marines. Oh man! And a Plasma Devastator shot, I think, just completely obliterated one of those grenade launcher squads and doing some pretty heavy damage to the second. We can see the Chains of Torment, that must mean the Robes of Torment and the Sword of Flame already upgraded over there. Corn Marines forcing off scouts, and here comes another Warp Sigil getting activated right there. Oh, those Plasma Devastators are in a lot of trouble, taking Havoc Fire, Sorcerer attacks, and the Corn Marines closing in for the kill. Will they finish it off? That Plasma Devastator desperately trying to escape, but it's not going to happen. A final sync kill from the Sorcerer, and an excellent play by Mr. Gote. And it looks like, yes, we have the Land Raider on the field already. And wow, look at that, getting obliterated. Those Warspires sacrificed several members to get that Haywire Grenade off and slow down that Land Raider. And upon seeing that, that Bright Lance realizes there's no way it can stick around. All 3 squads of snipers upgraded right now for Soom. Went straight for Tier 3, brought a Land Raider onto the field, and Swat just doesn't have too much he can do about that. He does have a Bright Lance and a Haywire Grenade. Now bringing some Wraithguard onto the field, that might actually be a very good choice to try to take out this Land Raider. Although it looks like Soom's just going to push it right up and tear through this power farm. 416 to 380 right now. VP is not moving too much. They've been changing hands quite a bit despite the red team being pretty decisive. Or sorry, the blue team pretty decisively tearing through a lot of the red team squads over here.
Our power node is in jeopardy.
Land Raider now moving in over here. Probably pushing maybe a bit too far up. I'm not sure. The Land Raider doesn't really do that much amazing damage output on its own. But there goes the Haywire Grenade. Now with all the weapons disabled, Wraithguard unloading on that thing. Bright Lance weapon team also firing. Warp Spider with his power blades. Everything's just obliterating this huge heavy tank right now. And man, it's trying to escape, but I'm not honestly sure it's going to. A nice flank coming in as well from Kingdom with his rocket attacks. Wow, this may be a big misplay by Soom right now. That Land Raider's desperately trying to get out of there. Scouts threatening those snipers, keeping them away from even trying to repair. And the Land Raider goes down. Soom spent so much resource getting that Land Raider on the field quickly, but didn't support it at all. And the red team just went for some heavy anti-vehicle and really just kind of threw it in their face, said, you're going to bring out a Land Raider. We don't need Tier 3. We've got all the AV we need right here. Soom did push that thing up a bit too far and just gave up a pretty huge advantage by going Tier 3 and losing that all so suddenly. So we can see now a second Corn Dreadnought on the field here for Mr. Gote. Has 2 Dreadnoughts on the field, and of course with the Sorcerer Mass Teleport can keep them safe at a moment's notice. We can see another Sigil going off. Both Eldar squads spotted it just in time and retreated. Soom bringing Terminators onto the field. Soom skipping all of the early Space Marine army and just going for the big, bad, nasty Tier 3 stuff. Did lose himself one of his largest investments, of course, that Land Raider Redeemer going down almost instantly as soon as it hit the field. All it really did was take out a power farm, so kind of a big misplay there if you ask me. Gonna have to see how that plays out. Corn Marine's doing a great job of causing some serious damage, and now these two Dreadnoughts charging into the base of both players. We can see the entire red team over here trying to stop these Dreads. They do have a lot of AV on the field though, so that source is probably gonna have to pull them back relatively soon here. And honestly, I think the blue team needs to stop going for vehicles for the time being. Corn Marines need to fall back right now. I'm not sure if he's paying attention to them at all, but they're right in the middle of the base and taking tons of fire. Oh my goodness, and it looks like they're actually going to escape while everything focuses down on that Chaos Corn Dreadnought. The other Dreadnought trying desperately to take out this Bright Lance platform, but it gets teleported out, and both Dreads just barely escape with their lives. Tech Marine, in the meantime, trying to put a turret up over here, but it's not really going to do too much with those two Dreadnoughts hanging out. In the meantime, Soom has all his scouts upgraded with Sarges, Snipers, and Infiltration. Those are some expensive squads, especially with one of them running around with just one member. He's going to have to be very careful to protect those investments as we get later into the game. Oh man! Tech Marine trying to get a decap. He must have been focused over here on his Snipers and lost it. Scouts trying to get a grenade or something over here, it looks like. And both Corn Dreadnoughts very low, but attacking these Assault Space Marines and the Tech Marine. I'm surprised the Tech Marine doesn't have an Orb of the Omnissiah yet. That would really help him out right now. And especially with protecting this turret, all he would really need is one Orb, and he'd be able to take that out. Both Dreadnoughts blood raging right now, attacking these Assault Space Marines. They need to jump out right away if they can. Oh no, they get knocked down. They might not get up. Another special attack finishes off the squad and sends the last two members tumbling down into the ravine there. Unfortunately, the Blood Rage hadn't completed, and one of the Dreadnoughts kills the other. Oh, big loss there for Gote. He did lose quite a bit there in this last attack. And now everything's kind of quiet for the moment. Altark got dropped down over here and is kind of instantly retreating there. 356 to 337. We're 15 minutes into this game, and both players sitting at well over 300 VPs still. For both teams, rather. All four players and two teams. Terminators now closing in on these Wraith Guard. Bright Lance doing some chip damage to those Terminators. A lot of Eldar players forget, but that Bright Lance does chip off 100 damage every time it fires on those Terminators, so it does add up after a while. Terminators force off. Oh no! Scouts getting taken down by those Warp Spires. It looked like Soom was trying to protect this rear squad with just the one member, but the Warp Spires came in and just pretty much assassinated that forward scout squad. One Terminator goes down. Warp Spider, Exarch, Altark, and Bright Lance all focusing down these Terminators over here. In the meantime, Kingdom and SWAT still stuck in Tier 2, haven't been able to hold on to much power at all. You can see both of their natural power farms completely bare, haven't been able to keep any of the secondary power on the field either. They do have one lone generator up here. In the meantime, Tech Marine's setting up a minefield, trying to protect this natural VP. So maybe he can sort of vacillate between these two positions and help out his ally. Really, Soom doesn't have too much on the field. He does have those Terminators, though, and Eldar do have a pretty difficult time dealing with those. He brought a Librarian onto the field as well to probably help support them, of course, with the Tome of Time, and if he gets himself a Psychic Hood, those Terminators become surprisingly mobile, despite their large bulk and slow movement speed.
Tech Marine has been returned to his base.
So Tech Marine continuing to lay mines over here. And a G.U.G coming on the field, the great unclean one, big nasty son of a gun, coming onto the field for Gote. And really, I don't know, I feel like they just, the blue team needs to stop going for vehicles and maybe just go for a melee-centric build, maybe get some Bloodletters onto the field or something for Gote over here, because there's just so many AV options on the field right now. Unfortunately, Kingdom did lose his Assault Space Marines to a pair of Corn Dreadnoughts, so he doesn't have the Melta. But there's still a Haywire Grenade, Wraith Guards, Bright Lance, a Las Cannon, and the Rocket Tax. So just tons of AV out here right now. That G.U.G is going to have a hard time approaching, I feel. Kingdom has his Dreadnought upgraded with a Melta, it looks like. Yes, sir, right there. Tech Marine getting the cap over here, and you can see an Orb getting upgraded on him right now, and that's what I expected to see from Kingdom, especially with two Dreadnoughts over there. This Dreadnought's going to have a pretty easy time taking out these Terminators on his own right now. That Melta going to be keeping them from kiting too well also. But we have a flank coming in here from the bridge. A nice Warp Silver going off, forcing those scouts off the field. And those tacks almost walked into it as well, retreated just in time. There goes another Haywire Grenade, and this Corn Dreadnought's going to be in a lot of trouble right now. I don't think it's going to be getting out of there with both the Warp Spider and the Bright Lance going off on that. Although it's still got a reasonable amount of HP left, the Warp Spider's not going to be able to take it out on his own with that Bright Lance no longer firing upon it. Librarian's trying to capture this point, but he needs to get out of there. He needs to keep that Librarian on the field right now. Otherwise, he's not going to have any support for those Terminators. Chains of Torment locking down the Tech Marine in the meantime. Guo coming into position here. Drops a Vomit, but of course it takes so long to activate. Those Guardians weren't anywhere near it. And there goes the Corn Dreadnought getting annihilated over there in the face of the Eldar base. So Gote now down to not much. A Chaos Space Marine squad and a Heretic squad. Has his Guo out here as well, but he needs to pull it back. None of the army is up there to support it. He's going to lose it in the same fashion as that Land Raider goes down if he's not careful. Oh no, the Las Cannon going off, the Haywire going off. It's now completely immobilized, and everything from the red side is now opening up on it. It's eating tons and tons of damage, but it's just not going to get out of there anytime soon. And that's going to be a second super unit down for the blue team. Blue team just not utilizing them well at all, and they really could have made some big impact with those two units, but they've both now fallen pretty much with no real advantage to the blue team. Kind of just two big, large wastes of resource, and we can see the Guo finally getting obliterated into a bloody mess after some maniacal laughter at his own defeat. Looks like Corn Marines got pushed back by a secondary dev over here. Chaos Heretics coming in from behind. Of course, those scouts are going to be able to deter them pretty easily. And another Warp Signal going off, stopping that Havoc from getting set up and allowing the Sorcerer to start hacking away at them. Might even take out a couple models. Terminators getting forced back. Way too much Eldar force over here for them to kind of stand on their own. And really just going back and forth. Now the blue team finally just barely under 300 points, but VP is still constantly going back and forth. It's really difficult to hold a solid VP on this map sometimes, as if both teams are up on their capping, it's really hard to kind of push one side without losing the other. Altark over here trying to get a cap for the red team back, and Tax and Scouts moving in on these Heretics. They're worshipping now to allow these Corn Marines to get in. Scouts maneuvering in to try to spot them. The Havoc, unfortunately, is firing at the wrong squad. The Havocs, there we go. Sorry, Havoc's no longer on the field. Heretics getting forced off along with their Corn brothers over there. SWAT finally able to hit tier 3 and bring in an Avatar onto the field, so the red team's bringing some super units of their own over here, and now a Chaos Predator over here as well. But once again, I don't feel like that's necessarily the best choice. We've got Missile Tax right here. It's already been upgraded with the Marcus Siege, giving it that powerful las cannon. But if that Librarian uses the Veil of Time on these Tax, they'll be able to pursue that tank and finish it off. There goes the las cannon right now. Those Tax need to move in. Librarian needs to turn around and use a spell and increase the speed of one of these squads. I'm not sure why the Tax fell back so quickly. Of course, Corn Marines now moving in, and with that second dev also upgraded with the las cannon. I'm not even sure that's necessary. If you had just used Veil of Time on these Tax, you should have tried to keep that Devastator, I think, as suppression to kind of control those Corn Marines with the Sorcerer. Terminator's now in a lot of trouble. We can see, oh, actually a second squad of Terminators on the field now for Soom. 2 squads of Scouts, he's down to just the 2. Terminators jetting out of there as they were very low. Surprising they only lost the 1 model there, down to 300 HP and still 2 models standing. And the Avatar finally allowing the red team to push out here and hold this VP for a little while. So Guardians setting up some energy shields, planning to bunker down over here and try to hold this VP for as long as possible and get some serious advantage on the blue team. However, Kingdom's having a hard time getting out here and holding ground against the Sorcerer. These Tactical Marines very low, gonna have to be very careful those Corn Marines decide to move up. Oh, one single Doom Blast go off and pegs that Tax Sergeant, unfortunately for him. Chains of Torment going off, stopping those Scouts in their tracks as the Chaos Predator moves in and blasts away at some Tax over here. They need to fall back right now. They do with 2 members left, and the Librarian's out here on his own right now. Going to need to be very careful. Las Cannon setting up over here, but not going to be able to finish off that Predator on its own. It's a bit too far back. Librarian's not close enough to activate the Veil of Time on that Lazdev. Note getting popped on the top secondary power there. Red team's still very short on power. And Gote finally bringing some Bloodletters onto the field. Oh man, and Librarian gets forced back and then taken out by some Dark Flames, it looks like right there. Man, there's just stuff constantly going on either side of this map right now. Tech Marine fighting against Grenade Launcher Heretics over here. Las Cannon moving into position on this Predator. And Assault Cannon Terminators, both squads of Assault Cannon Terminators. Looks like Blue's kind of imbuing everything they have over here on this side of the map to try to take the two VPs. At this point in the game, it's very late, so I mean, both players still have, or both sides still have more than half their total VPs left, but it looks like Blue Team's going to push for the left side of the map over here and just gain these two VPs back right away. So tons of fire going down, but all this AV really isn't doing too much to the Terminators, and it looks like we've got a Fire Prism on the field. Look at the range on that sucker, and look at how shiny that Fire Prism is. That is a very fine-looking Fire Prism. Very nice color scheme on that. I appreciate a good color scheme. Thanks. Anyways, it looks like the Red Team has answered the Blue Team and is devoting most of their forces as well over here. These Terminators pretty low, along with the Predator. Blue Team actually going to have a hard time pushing up against this position, especially with the Fire Prism and Avatar watching things over here. And a pretty reasonable force over here on the contested VP as well. Wraith Guards, Guardians, a couple AV squads, and some energy shields really locking things down over here. Avatar kind of hanging out in the middle with the Warp Spires. Both of those squads pretty quick so they can be to either side, kind of stationed as a staging area on this bridge, just ready to push back whichever side comes up. Kingdom's still choosing to stay in Tier 2 and getting himself another Dreadnought. Not sure. I feel like he should probably just start heading into Tier 3. He's got so much red to spend that it seems like a shame that he's not using that. Soom now getting a Predator to come out as well. And again, there's just so much AV on the field that I feel like on these narrow corridors, at this point, for the Blue Team, Predators just not, or vehicles in general really, just not really a good choice. Tech Marine now putting some more mines down, really trying to keep those VPs from changing hands. And I think the Red Team's pretty well locked down. The Blue Team had an excellent advantage going into this kind of mid to late game feel right here. But unfortunately wasted a couple big expensive squads and a couple super units and really costing themselves the possible early win here. So now they are down by 50 VPs and bleeding. They're going to have to do something to get out here. They're kind of waiting, kind of trying to approach. The Sorcerer he does have his Tome of Subjugation right here. So he just used his Warp Sigil right there to force off the Las Cannon, but it doesn't look like they're advancing, so it's not really buying them any real time here. We're going to have to see how this plays out. We're almost 30 minutes into this game with no end in sight. And it looks like the Blue Team's getting ready to start some real trouble on this side of the map. Has two Predators, two squads of Terminators, Bloodletters, Corn Marines, Heretics, and both heroes getting ready to push in over here. Assault Cannon Dreadnought over here. Assault Cannon, an interesting choice. I would have kind of expected to see maybe the Melted Dread again. But Tech Marine now upgraded with his anti-vehicle loadout, has his Orbs of the Omnissiah and his Melted Gun. Oh man, and a grenade going down over here. Terminators teleporting in on both vehicles. That Fire Prism needs to fall back if those Terminators choose to engage it in melee. It's going to take it down. Assault Cannon Barrage going down while both Terminators and the Preds move in over here. Nice looking Wailing Doom. Almost took out his own Warp Spire squad though. I'm not sure if they're going to get out of there. They just barely do. Oh, and Dark Flames were going to finish it off even if that Predator hadn't done it on its own. Wrath of Cain going down. Mark target on the Avatar. Avatar is very low. One of the Predators has already been obliterated, however. That Avatar looks like it's going to get out of there, and it looks like the Red Team might be able to hold and push back this advance right here. That Dreadnought with the Assault Cannon very low. Those Bloodletters probably going to be able to finish that off. Or maybe the Terminators. It's walking by the Terminators, trying to get out of there. I'm not sure if the Kingdom really should have just used Blessing of the Omnissiah or something at this point. That Predator was way too damaged to kind of risk coming up against that Avatar, or sorry, that Fire Prism. Avatar already fell back. Bloodletter's moving in on the Dreadnought, though. They might be able to finish it off, and they do. They're retreating, but it cost them a couple miles, but totally worth it for Assault Cannon and Dreadnought. And that was a hell of an engagement. Oh my goodness. I'm not even sure if I covered everything that happened right there. But that was both teams, both players, and just a lot of carnage right there. Subjugate going down on the missile tax over here, trying to cause some trouble. Just pouring a couple rockets into the base turret right there. That Sorcerer's probably just going to have to get out of there if he's got the opportunity. So a well-placed Guardian Grenade might have been able to finish him off, but they kind of just stood there. In the meantime, that Las Cannon on, or sorry, that, what is it, Mark of Siege. I always get the marks mixed up on the Predators. I'm not sure why, but Mark of Siege Fred kind of probing around, trying to figure out if it can approach that Fire Prism or not. Grenade Launcher Heretics doing a good job of kind of keeping this VP lockdown from way back here. Scouts trying to get in there and put some pressure on them, drop a grenade, but it doesn't look like it's quite going to connect. And that Predator took a couple shots from the Fire Prism. It might actually go down. Fire Prism pursuing Heretics Worship and do make it invisible just in the nick of time. In the meantime, they're going to get an unpleasant surprise in the form of an invisible G.U.G advancing right now on that Avatar. Avatar's trying to get a lucky kill, maybe in the invisibility of that worship circle, but it does not really connect to anything with that Wailing Doom. Kingdom has a Librarian out here and now purchasing himself a Plasma Devastator, still in Tier 2. Red team just hasn't been able to hold any power still. They really need to try to get something up here, I feel. Now both squads of Terminators advancing on the fortified position over here on the contested VP. They're going to have to pretty much get everything out of there. Tons of platforms over there, not going to be able to deal with two squads of Assault Cannon Terminators right now. The Avatar is coming in behind them to support, and we have another call-in though. Is this more Terminators? Or what do we have here? There goes the Wailing Doom. Oh, it's going to be a Venerable Dreadnought. But already the Warp Spiders are on the scene, ready to drop a Haywire Grenade at a moment's notice. Mark target once again on that Avatar, taking tons of fire. And it doesn't look like the Haywire actually went down even. That Avatar taking tons of fire, but a Las Cannon's in position, slowing down that Venerable Dreadnought. The Terminators are going to be able to engage that and force it off, however. G.U.G coming in from behind as well. Fire Prism over here to support. Both teams kind of just lobbing around together at this point, trying to push back any major push by the opposing side. It's kind of redundant to say, but normally you see, as I mentioned earlier, very solitary play on this map, and these last few engagements have just been kind of a little of everything. Tax get a decap over here. Red team doing a good job of staying on top of their capping outside of the major engagements, which really is making a difference here. They're up by about 100 VPs, and that might matter here at the end. Fire Prism still continuing to pour fire into whatever it can, staying way back but doing some reasonable damage. Wraithguard now under the spell of Subjugate, gonna start doing some damage to that Fire Prism. Fire Prism actually taking friendly fire. Oh no! And perfect use of Subjugate, taking over that AV squad, obliterating that Fire Prism, and then finishing off the Wraith Guards as well. They were so low that when Subjugate ended, that was it. Unfortunately, the Sorcerer might go down because the spell isn't over, and down he goes. Sorcerer, of course, immobilized for the duration of Subjugate. I guess, I think the spell was over, but for some reason he couldn't move. And look at all the AV just pouring fire into these two heavy Tier 3 squads. Man, two Las Cannons, a Bright Lance D Cannon, and an Avatar, all just obliterating the G.U.G and the Venerable Dreadnought. Soom should have tried to keep that Dreadnought up if he could, but now he's just down to two Terminator squads as it goes into its last stand right here. G.U.G did get out, I believe. It got mass teleported back to base with the rest of the Sorcerer's army. But that doesn't really help their cause, unfortunately. Terminators now getting sucked into the vortex there. Singularity going off and actually taking out one of those Terminator members. Of course, with the assault cannons on those Terminators, they're going to be doing heavy damage no matter how many members they have left here at the end. Soom now bringing another Predator onto the field, it looks like. I really don't think that's a good idea, honestly. He needs to bring in something other than vehicles to the field at this point. There's just so much AV on the field, and look at that Doom Blast going off, causing tons of damage to those Tactical Marines. Sorcerer level 4 right now. Taking a look at the, oh man, Tech Marine all the way up at level 8. And a pair of Tech Marines kind of just hanging out here in the center. Unfortunately, one of them's about to get up, and that's not looking good for the blue team at all. Soom's lost pretty much everything except his Terminators, bringing a Pred out here as well. Go is now healed up and moving forward once again, this time with the support of its army, and that's the way you gotta see it. Plasma Devastator set up probably a bit too close, and here comes the Bloodletters coming in. I'm not even sure if that Plasma Devastator will be out of there. They're notoriously slow, but it looks like he reacted just in time, and a supporting Plasma Devastator getting a nice shot there, and a rocket finished off that single Bloodletter model. But I don't think we have anything over here that's going to really be able to cope with this Ghoul on their own. And man, I'm just running out of steam myself. This game is not ending. Ghoul and Avatar duking it out here in the middle. 108 to 192. Either team really still has a chance at this. Kingdom has a lot of resource right now. He needs to bring something else onto the field to really support. I'm not sure what all he has, but he can definitely get something out here. He's got the red for Terminators or Vendread whenever he chooses. He just needs a bit more, or no, he has the power. He needs to get something out here right now to help support the rest of this. He's got everything he needs for it. War Spider coming in, forcing off those Corn Marines along with the Avatar. Plasma Devastator constantly firing. Meanwhile, Tactical Marines engaging the Ghoul in melee for a little while here, while everything else pours fire into it. Unfortunately, the Plasma Dev does some pretty serious damage to him. Subjugate again going down on an AV squad. Another clutch play for Subjugate. Might actually finish off that Avatar. You can see Plasma Devastator got teleported out of there. Oh no, Avatar goes down! And once again, Subjugate paying for itself easily and showing how useful it really can be, especially in these late game positions when you can kind of catch a vehicle out of position here. Those tier 3 vehicles so very expensive, and one Subjugate on a good anti-vehicle squad can really just catch your opponent out of position and obliterate any chance they had right here. Librarian getting very low. He needs to get out of there right now, taking way too much fire, and then turned into bits by one blast with the Melta from the Tech Marine over here of Soom. So man, another Ghoul falling right here, cackling to himself as he gets ready to explode once again. There he goes. And Terminator's just doing tons of damage over here. Nice looking Plasma Devastator shot, forcing off those grenade launcher heretics. Tech Marine getting down right there as well and falling back. Oh man, look at that Doom Blast. Oh wow, taking out scouts and tons of attacks. Attacks need to fall back, but they go down. Oh no, Kingdom lost so much right there. They were in such a good position to take this out, but this was a rough engagement for the red team. They lost their Avatar. Kingdom just lost a few squads right here. Tech Marine trying to res, but realizing he's not going to pull it off. These two squads of Assault Cannon Terminators just obliterating any kind of infantry resistance they encounter. Bloodletter's going to force off that las cannon over there, and blue team just not even concerned with the contested DP, pouring everything they have into this left lane over here, and it's actually paying off. 87 to 153. They should be trying to maybe get some ninja caps in over here. All that's over here is some AV. There is a D cannon, but maybe a stealth squad or something like that. I mean, Soom has plenty of resource. He could pop some scouts back out. He's lost so many, but one more squad wouldn't hurt. Get some infiltrate on that and really try to put some pressure on. Seeing the mark of Nurgle go down on this Chaos Predator, pretty surprising. Another call in from, I think, Soom over here. Wow, a third squad of Terminators, and that's when you know a game has gone on too long. When a single Space Marine player has 3 squads of Terminators on the field. So I'm sure we'll be seeing that get an Assault Cannon eventually here as well. Chaos Predator upgraded with the Mark of Nurgle, making it very slow, but giving it a pretty huge HP pool. So if they can manage to stay supported over here with these Terminators, it may actually work out. Chains of Torment going off, keeping that Wart Spire still long enough for those Terminators to take him out and hopefully force him off the map. In the meantime, oh man, we have an Eldritch Storm going off over here on top of that Predator, and with the combined fire of those las cannons, Plasma Devastator and that Storm, even the Nurgle Predator is not safe. So we have a drop pod coming down over here, and it's actually just empty. I thought that was going to be a Venerable Dreadnought. In the meantime, this Predator in a lot of trouble. Warspider's been taking out so many vehicles with those power blades, with the help of his Warspider squad as well. In the meantime, down goes the Sorcerer. He was subjugating once again, but of course he is immobile, and he was right next to a Dreadnought. Not a good spot to be when trying to subjugate. Kingdom's just been pumping out Dreadnoughts here. He has been losing them, though, as quickly as he makes them. So still sitting in Tier 2. I guess that's why we didn't see the Venerable Dreadnought. Oh no, the big bad Imperial Abyss obliterating a Devastator squad. 2 squads of Terminators finish off that Dreadnought, and in the meantime getting tossed around by the chains of that Abyss. Core Marine's now way behind this Plasma Devastator. It might not get out of there. A couple shots from the Melta Pistol, and it's going to go down. There it goes. Another loss for Kingdom. Kingdom down to just... looks like he's got Plasma Devastators on Overwatch at this point, but Kingdom down to just a few setup squads over here. Looks like the Tech Marine over here trying to get the cap on this point. 87 to 56. Blue team really bringing it back in the throes of defeat here, trying to get the last stranglehold on these VPs to choke out their opponents for the victory. Plasma Devastator shot going off. Heretics maneuver just in time to avoid it. Kingdom bringing on Tactical Marines, another Avatar on the field. Red team's desperate to get out here. And we're going to probably see 1 or 2 last pushes here as the VPs are finally ticking down. It's just been a plethora of destruction, every kind of explosion, firepower vehicles, and everything else you can imagine. All going down here. We have 3 squads of Assault Cannon Terminators now on the field. Chaos Dreadnought upgrading to the Mark of Corn. This is going to be a nasty push coming in against the Reds. They need to do something about these Terminators. That is so much firepower and so much bulk to take out in a short amount of time. Tech Marine already taking tons of damage right now. There is a lot set up back here, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to deal with these Terminators. Warspider's moving in. Gonna probably try to drop that Haywire Grenade on top of that. Meanwhile, Plasma Devastator's locking down this point, keeping those Terminators from capping. Bloodlighters teleporting in. Chaos happening everywhere. Wailing Doom knocking Terminators back, and the Plasma Devastator retargeted. It needed to stay on these Terminators and keep them from getting the decap. If he can keep the Terminators focused on the VP, he can keep pouring fire into them, but all the setup teams are getting forced off by those Bloodletters back here. Now Terminators are free to roam around and just do whatever they want. There's not really much artillery left on the field. Kingdom has so much red but can't do anything with it. Gote's down to a small force as well. He lost his Dreadnought. He's down to just Bloodletters, Chaos Marines, and Heretics. In the meantime, this Avatar is trying to do what it can to prevent the decap, but it's not going to be able to support all of this on its own. It's... oh man. I don't see the red team. Red team just needs to go back and cap this point back here. But the Avatar goes down to the Terminators, Bloodletters, and Core Marines. And that's the game. It looks like the red team's gone ahead and thrown in the towel. Wow. What a game there. 3 squads of Assault Cannon Terminators. And what a dazzling screenshot to sum up all the destruction. Avatar getting obliterated there at the last second. Terminators just pouring fire into everything they can, and the Sorcerer supporting with all the nasty melee on the field. So wow, really blue team bringing it back there. They had an advantage. They brought out those super units and lost them very quickly due to the red team just kind of spamming all that AV and doing a good job of holding out. I honestly thought the red team had it there, but then another quick turnaround at that last engagement over here. Kingdom lost way too much. I don't even know how much was lost this game. There was just so much going on. This was what, a 42-minute long game, and just a hell of a game. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I'm worn out. I'm out of breath. My voice is about to die. So I'm going to call it here. Hope you guys enjoyed the game. This is Red-Rupee. Thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, subscribe, talk about the game, talk about my commentary, whatever you want. I always appreciate it, and I will catch you guys next time.